Owen, the guns might have gone silent, but clearly the war over narrative, that is still raging. Why are we seeing this letter submitted now in the midst of a ceasefire?
Well, first of all, Nicole, you're right. This has a long tail. And it's something that we noticed already in 2024, in the spring and the summer of 2024, when the war at that point had abated at least a little bit. But it was the peak of the encampments on college campuses, that it was a first sign that the level of activism doesn't always track exactly what's going on in the battlefield. And Nicole, you're absolutely right here. A great example. We're in a ceasefire. There's been a real de-escalation, a true de-escalation. And now we still see a letter like this, which does not claim that Israel is currently targeting the hospitals. It's in the present perfect, have targeted, right? But it does talk about denial of aid, whether that's true or not true. Look, at the end of the day, what's going on, of course, the people who sign this, the organizations, the doctors, certainly the celebrities, they're doing it on the one hand because they may actually believe it, but also there's a strategy here. This is a low-cost way of connecting with groups of people who are important to you, and you can do it by signing a letter like this without a huge cost to yourself in a lot of these cases, but with the huge upside of connecting to these publics. Obviously, Israel's not doing well among younger generations in the United States. It crosses party lines, but tilts even more towards the left. This is maybe the kind of publics that these people want to connect to. This is an easy way for them to do it. And Nicole, you're absolutely right. This looks to be with us for a long, long time. I still have some hope that as this war gradually recedes into the background and is replaced by other items in the news, that we might start to see a very, very slow and very, very gradual reduction in anti-Israel activism, and maybe someday, maybe some kind of comeback for Israel in American public opinion. But you're absolutely right. This has a much longer tail than in other areas. And the war, if you, as it were, will end in this arena long after it's ended in others.
I like a little bit of your optimism there, Owen. But as you right to mention, it's the humanitarian access that this letter also points to. And Major General Dangot, through your work with COGAT, you know these aid deliveries very well. Right now, it's been 3 months since the ceasefire went into effect. The Rafah border crossing closed for the most part, some aid deliveries, but for the most part through the Kerem Shalom and the Erez crossing. So is there some truth that more humanitarian aid does need to be entering Gaza?
First of all, forgive me that I will start by a great opportunity, a suggestion to those celebrities to organize them a trip to the Israeli places around Gaza and to show them what happened the 7th of October 23 and what has been unfortunately, the terror operator for what they are now writing. Secondly, after 2 years, I think that what is going from Rafah inside Gaza, it's really a plenty of hundreds of double container trucks that entering for the support to Gaza. What we know from them, that most of it is going to the area that controlled by Hamas. Secondly, when it comes to the area from what we call eastern to the yellow line, it's under the user's responsibility. Until now, we are missed one of our people that didn't return from Gaza. His name is Ran Gvili, that in the agreement, till he's not returning, we will not move to the second stage that Trump is really willing us to do. The second issue is the fact that those NGOs organizations are aware that the United States, Israel, and even Egypt are on a process of changing who will be the supplier and entering to Gaza. I'm serious concerning their professionality, some of them, but most of them are looking to survive in this area. The time of UNRWA, the time of other kind of such organization had been passed. And we need another way of mechanism to make it that till now, the United States didn't produce it. Why? Because till now, Hamas is disarmed. Concerning the facts, Israel lost the war on the legitimation all over the world. Is what they are doing now is trying to maintain the delegitimation to Israel, to continue with it. We have to improve our way of how to show it to the world. We will not be on the first, we will not make a change of 180 degrees, but enough to make it 30 degrees because it will take years. And the most important is the security. So what they're writing now is something that has no base on the ground. It is disconnected from the reality of what's going. Israel has to be very tough on the fact we are not going to second stage without returning Ran Gvili, without disarm Hamas, and then we continue as it is now to allow Egypt to enter with hundreds of trucks, and I'm telling you, you don't hear about a way of probably crisis of people that are hungry or something like this. There is enough, and who control it in Gaza? Unfortunately, Hamas.
Yeah, one last thing to say. Look, this again shows us how important it is in terms of the fight for public opinion. Of course, the way of explaining it, as Eitan correctly said, but also the merits of the policy, that the denial, or to the extent that Israel has denied humanitarian aid, just how much, Nicole, that's cost us internationally, without a clear, in many cases, security upside. If there was a thinking in certain parts of the war that by denying humanitarian aid, it was actually going to give Israel leverage over Hamas, of course, we've seen exact opposite. The denial of aid has given Hamas leverage over Israel. And again, not that the people signing this letter represent the middle of American public opinion. Obviously not. These are the hardcore activists. But among that middle of American public opinion, we have seen how much this issue matters. Of course, for Israeli planners, it has to be seen as part of a larger picture. But again, this has been important and will continue to be important because, if nothing else, this war did end with Israel having a certain responsibility over what crosses into the Gaza Strip. That hasn't changed from October 6th.
Certainly right. Owen Alterman and Major General Eitan Dango, thank you for this analysis and an important conversation as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not a wild story out of the West Bank. 3 men dressed up as IDF soldiers to pull off a robbery. Yes, police say these 3 suspects on your screen allegedly impersonated troops wearing IDF uniforms, tactical vests, even carrying weapons. And they arrived at a jewelry store in Hebron. They're accused of forcing their way into the store, stealing its merchandise, and then fleeing the scene. Don't worry, real Israeli security forces quickly found and arrested these 3 men, 1 Palestinian and 2 Israeli Bedouins. They're currently being investigated by the Israeli police. The Jewish community of Mississippi is reeling after the oldest and largest synagogue came under fire, literally. 19-year-old Stephen Spencer Pittman is in federal custody after admitting to setting Beth Israel Synagogue on fire. If convicted, he faces 5 to 20 years in prison. Net24 News host and correspondent Emily Francis has more.
Authorities released security footage of the masked and hooded suspect pouring gas-infused liquid on the floor of the Beth Israel Synagogue before setting it ablaze. The charred remains of the 165-year-old synagogue sends a chilling reminder that anti-Semitic hate crimes are on the rise.
We're also coming off of a really atrocious anti-Semitic attack on the Jewish community in Australia. I think one of the key pieces here is many folks in the Jewish community, it's not an if it's going to happen, it's a when. And I think this is just a wake-up call that when is maybe a little bit closer than we'd like it to be.
The FBI has arrested and charged Stephen Spencer Pittman with maliciously damaging or destroying a building by means of fire or an explosive. The 19-year-old confessed to the FBI that he targeted the synagogue because of its Jewish ties and that the house of worship is a, quote, synagogue of Satan.
I just want to let the Beth Israel community know that the city of Jackson is standing with this community, so attack against the synagogue is an attack against all of us.
The congregation says 2 Torahs inside the library were destroyed. 5 more sacred scrolls are being assessed for smoke damage. Fortunately, 1 Torah that survived the Holocaust and was encased in glass was not damaged in the fire.
We are directly across the street from Beth Israel and have a long, loving relationship with this congregation.
Christian religious leaders and worshipers condemn the attack and stand behind their nearly 2 centuries-long relationship with the Jewish people of Mississippi.
I think that an attack on the people of God is an attack on everybody who's a believer, and I wanted to come out and help them, show the community that we stand together, that it's important and love, and we support one another.
The Beth Israel congregation was Mississippi's first synagogue, founded in 1860, just before the Civil War. At the time, there were only 15 Jewish families in town. This is not the first anti-Semitic attack at the house of worship. In 1967, it was bombed by the KKK, who also bombed the rabbi's home. a sign that history does repeat itself.
If they want to come by and just gather here and then walk across and be with each other, they have a place. It's important for people of faith to stand up and say that love is bigger than hate.
Well, Israeli President Isaac Herzog is warning about something a lot of people don't talk about enough: quiet exodus of young Christian families from Israel. Speaking at his annual holiday reception for church leaders in Jerusalem, Herzog said Christians belong here, and Israel has a responsibility to make every community feel safe, welcome, and secure. He also pointed to the Abraham Accords as a model for peace and prosperity in the region. To talk more about this, we're joined now by Father Rafik Nahra, a bishop of Nazareth, joining us from Nazareth in Israel. Father, thank you for being with us on the Rundown tonight. I want to begin with this exodus that the president is talking about. Herzog's warning about young Christian families leaving Israel, especially from the Galilee, in the area where you are. Are you hearing anything from families in Nazareth? Any concerns that they're feeling?
Well, many of our families are leaving. This is a reality. Perhaps not many people know it, but in the last few years, the best families we have are leaving because of insecurity first. You know, the president, when he gave his speech, he spoke of the importance of making the Christian communities feel welcome and secure. And I think these are the two expressions, secure. You know, I was reading 2 days ago, so we were on the 11th of January, that already 15 people were killed in the Arab society in Israel. 15 people in the 11th first days of the year. So all this violence in the Arab society makes people leave. Many of our people are leaving to go well, in the best cases, it would be in Nofa Galil or in Haifa, but many of our families go to Greece, to Cyprus, to other countries, or buy houses for their children, because they say we feel that there is no future for our children in this country. It is very sad. But very sad for us as Christian community, very sad for Israel.
Are these security concerns new? Is there anything that's changing that's making them feel even stronger than any security concerns in the past?
You know, in the past year, 2025, over 250 people were killed in the Arab society because all this phenomenon of the crime families. And we feel that the security forces, the government of Israel could do better. I mean, our people are despaired because of this continual violence. You know, every day under the sun, you wake up in the morning, you read in the news, or you hear in the street that one more person, 2 more people were shot, and so on. So there is this violence, but it's not the only reason. Also, the second word, where the president says that our people should feel welcome. And I think that in these, more and more after the 7th of October, many of our people don't feel welcome. I mean, it's more difficult today for a Christian Arab, for an Arab in general, to find a job in Israel. And sometimes we hear speeches, sorry to tell it, but speeches of hate. Not all Israelis, really not. I'm not speaking about all Israelis, but there are radical groups who are spreading speeches that present in a very negative way the Arab communities and the Christian communities also. So for these reasons, I think many of our families, those who want to live in peace, you know, those who want to have a quiet life, their children have diplomas, and they could really serve the country in which they live. So that's it. That's the situation.
So what needs to happen then? What steps would you ask from the Israeli government to actually help these Christian communities stay and feel safe and feel welcome?
Well, first of all, to stop the violence. I know that to stop the violence, there are 2 dimensions. We have as Arab communities to work on education in our place. We cannot say only it's the government who is not doing their job. We have to work on education. But not only that, also the government, security forces who are able to do so many things to protect so many people in the country could do much more to protect our population. You know, criminal families are known to everybody. So something can be done, something better can be done for sure. And also to change the way we speak about the non-Jewish communities in Israel. Once again, not everybody. I'm not speaking about the president. I'm not speaking about many, many good people in Israel. But there are radical groups who are developing a kind of hate speech. And this has to be stopped. It's very dangerous for everybody, for the Jewish community, for the Arab community, for Christians, for Muslims, for everybody. And also for the reputation of the Israeli people in the world, because these news are heard outside. And it's painful for me that people hear outside that in Israel, Christians sometimes have to suffer from these things.
From that aspect, from the security aspect, that's one hand, how the authorities tackle this. But how do you tackle something like that, the speech that is spread throughout certain sectors in Israeli society?
But some people, you have to stop them, really, simply. You cannot, there is a problem of education, in this country on all sides. There is a problem of education, to respect the different, to respect the others, to everybody has his own place in this land. And so it's a wide question. It's a question also of education, of justice for everybody, of compassion for the others. The speech in Israel was very different a few years ago. In these last years, you hear much violence, not only against Arabs or Christians, even in the Jewish society, there is so much hate in the speeches, one against the other, and we are part of it. And I hope really that something will be changed. It's not normal.
Father, let's leave on a message of hope if you can tonight, this evening. Why are you here? What gives you hope to stay in Israel?
Well, I'm here to serve my people. I am a bishop, but we love everybody. I don't love only my people. I have many, many Jewish friends, really, very dear friends. All the Arab community with whom I live, we have many good Muslim friends. We visit them for their feasts. They visit us in Nazareth. And we have all our communities, variegated, all the Christian communities. This land is so rich, so important for many people in the world. And when pilgrims dream of coming to visit, thanks God, in the last few weeks, they are coming back, and we encourage them. Always we tell people, please come, you are secure. You have to come to this country. So there is hope. Sometimes it's enough with one word. Each one can change the situation with one smile, with one good word to the others, by establishing contacts with the others. It's not only a question of government. It's also all of us.
Yes, one smile can certainly have a lot of an impact there, and it does come from the grassroots up, and that's why it's important to hear voices like your own, Father Rafik Nahra. Thank you very much for being with us on I-24 News this evening.
Thank you very much.
Well, changing themes now, have you ever been pearl hunting? Well, you can now do that in the United Arab Emirates. Our host and correspondent Natasha Kirchuk has the story.
Before oil and before skyscrapers, pearls built the Persian Gulf. And now visitors in the UAE can step inside that history. In Ras Al Khaimah, tourists are boarding a boat not for a beach day, but for a journey into the UAE's past, headed for a floating pearl farm known as the House of Pearl.
Today, you will go to the House of Pearl. It's a floating building inside Al-Rams Lagoon. And on the way, you might see some camels walking on the beach on Hlayla Island.
Below the water's surface, oyster nets hang quietly here, part of a pearl farming operation that's also become a hands-on history lesson.
Today we brought our guests and we explained the history and how we do the farming. And back in days, Emiratis, how they used to survive on the pearl diving. And we also showed the graded pearls. We also opened oysters to find pearls. And we explained how it was formed.
For centuries, pearl diving was the backbone of life in the United Arab Emirates. Men dove deep into the Gulf, often without oxygen, risking everything to support their families.
Pearl diving and the camel farming were the major source of income for Emiratis. But the 1940 was the last year of diving. After 1940, there was no diving. The major reason was the discovering the oil.
Today, pearl farming has replaced that dangerous work, and visitors get to see the difference up close.
Natural pearl, it's hard to get. It's out of 100, you get only one pearl. Whereas farming, the chances are 60%.
But the tour doesn't end on the water. pearls harvested here go on to become jewelry, linking modern craftsmanship to an ancient trade. From oyster to necklace, this floating farm isn't just about pearls. It's about preserving a story that shaped the Emirates and inviting the world to experience it.
Some beautiful pearly white images to end you on for this latest edition of The Rundown here on I24 News. As always, head to i24news.tv or any of our social accounts to stay up to date on what's happening here in Israel, the Middle East, and around the world. Until next time, I'm Nicole Zedek. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We just finished searching all the car that the people evacuated.
When disaster strikes, there's no time to think. Every second, every move can mean the difference between life and death. At United Hatzalah, that's what we train for. This is a mass casualty incident drill, training for emergency scenarios where the wounded outnumber the available responders. It's not real, but this is where lifesavers are made. For a terror attack, a rocket strike, a natural disaster, or a building collapse, we practice and prepare. Because when it's real, there are no second chances. Please help United Hatzalah continue to be prepared to respond at a moment's notice to any scenario, anytime, anywhere.
Some people buy property. We identify opportunities. David Jamie Group, experience dedicated to those who choose to invest differently. Today, Dubai is booming. Exceptional growth, favorable taxation, unmatched security, and returns unlike anywhere else in the world. Surrounded by top-tier experts, we search on the ground and alongside you for the most promising opportunities in Dubai, but also in Miami, Tel Aviv, and Paris. Want to invest smart? Secure your future in the world's most iconic cities? David Jamie Group, real estate opportunities.
Years of history, and no matter who has tried to kill us, we survive and we thrive. Every week we'll bring you the latest Jewish news from around the world. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the magnificent. Join us every Monday for Jewish World Weekly.
Wherever you are, access our programs, reports, in-depth discussions, and expert analysis anytime, anywhere, right from your phone. All the content from the I24 News website, the latest articles, exclusive interviews, VOD and live broadcasts is now just a tap away on the I24 News app. So what are you waiting for? Download the I24 News app today.
The 7th of October set in motion a chain of events. Today, Israel's enemies are severely weakened, but not defeated, and the balance of power is shifting. This region never rests. And for its own survival, Israel needs to keep its finger on the pulse. If you want to better understand, if you want to hear voices you won't hear elsewhere, then tune in daily to Middle East Now on I24 News.
and welcome to Innovation. I'm your host, Lynn Plachmeijer, and thank you for joining. Now, life is hard enough as it is, so for this episode, we are spotlighting the gadgets that will improve our way of life. But first, our headlines. Get comfortable because these technologies are about to change your life, among which a smart bed that adjusts your mattress when you snore. We take you to the world's largest and most influential technology trade show in Las Vegas, where companies are showing what they are made of. And the Lynn coin has been conjured up by our Joe Brown last week as an example of crypto fraud, but now people are actually trading a coin with my face on it. Is it a scam, or am I worth investing in? Now, it's what I like to do best, sleep. But this bed is not just your normal bed. This bed monitors you when you sleep, gives you all the data you need, and even changes the position of your bed when it detects your snoring, which some people supposedly do. So for more on this, I'm now joined by Kobi Pode, CEO of Polyron. So Kobi, thank you very much for joining me today. You design smart beds. Can you tell us how big of a problem sleep disorders are nowadays?
Hi, and thank you for hosting me. I think that we have in hand the most sophisticated bed that exists now in the market, with several sensors that are installed inside the bed. These sensors are reading your sleeping data and accumulated it into a file in the end of the day, which give you and analyzes you how was your sleeping, whether it was good, whether it was long, have you been dreaming, all of this, and of course, if you have been snoring. And all this data helps you in the end to go to a specialist and to analyze this and give you recommendation how to sleep. Besides this, the bed itself you can adjust the position you sleep, where it's comfortable, whether you need to read, whether you want to watch TV, or just to feel much better in the bed. All of this can be done through an app on your mobile or from the remote control, which is connected to the bed.
And is it, how much can it actually improve your sleep quality?
Sleeping is the most, I would say, one of the most important activities of the humankind. It's energize you. It's 30% of your time you're spending in bed, and because of this, the position that you are staying in the bed is very important, according to your body size, according to your sleeping methods, on how you used to sleep, on your side, on your back, on your belly. And according to this, you can adjust, you can fix the position of the bed. That's on one touch, it brings you to the position that is the best position for your sleeping.
And in the future, do you think we're all going to sleep on these smart beds?
It will be, of course, it's much more developed. I think in the future, it will be more connected through an AI technologies, which will analyze your state of mind, your body position, and will act automatically according to the profile that's inside the engines.
Wow. As you say, 30% of our time we spend in the bed, which is a lot. Do you think your technology is unique to Israel?
No, this is an international technology. I think this is one of the leading companies in the world for this technology. And we are holding this in Israel. We are the only one in Israel that have this high technology. So we can recommend on using it as a mattress company and also as an adjustable bed company, which we are supplying to Israel.
Sounds amazing, and I can't wait to try it. Kobi Pode, CEO of Polyron, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Well, with the threat of a new Iran war looming, we take you to Soroka Hospital at Ben Gurion University, which was hit during the Israel-Iran war last June. Thanks to the quick thinking of students, 5 years of research on diabetes, inflammatory disease, and metabolic disorders was saved. Work that could help millions as the global pandemic of sedentary-related diseases continues to spiral. Our Emily Francis went to take a look.
In the early morning hours of June 19th, Iran's barrage of ballistic missiles slammed into Israel's largest hospital in the Negev. Miraculously, the lives of scores of patients at Soroka Hospital were spared, but 8 operating rooms and 6 research labs were destroyed.
We had the sprinklers working, and some of the tubes in the room, water and sewage, everything was, exploded.
So they were like just
so we walked in 20 centimeters of water there, all kinds of stuff in the water. I don't want to talk about it.
Including 5 years of important scientific work led by Ben Gurion University's Professor Ehud Ohana.
Oh, בדיוק. תרדי, זה עוד, ממש עוד.
Thanks to the quick-thinking students, they were able to save many of the biological samples that are paving the way for huge advances in diabetes as well as inflammatory and metabolic diseases.
Crohn's disease, inflammatory bowel diseases in general, colitis, but there are all kinds of indications that metabolism is involved, including papers from our group showing that specific metabolites are elevated in Crohn's and colitis patients in their gut and also in their blood. And we know that these metabolites are linked to chronic inflammation. In green and yellow, you actually see the proteins, the molecules that sit on the membranes of cells. This is the actual robot that takes glucose from the extracellular environment, from the external environment into the cell, in order for it to be used for metabolism, for energy production.
Nearly 500 million people in the world suffer from diabetes type 2, and more than 1 million die every year. As many as 8 million people globally have Crohn's disease, 1 million in the U.S. alone.
In a precision type of medicine, future medicine, we might be able to detect genetically prone patients who are not already sick but might be sick in a few years, and then maybe we'll use this as a pre-treatment to prevent, like a full-blown disease. אנחנו באמת רוצים לראות את העיכוב בנוכחות ה-NACT.
Professor Ohana and his team published their findings in Nature Communications Journal. Their research discovered that many of these immunological inflammatory diseases are actually related to metabolism.
By lowering the levels of these metabolites, we think that the chronic inflammation would go down and take away the symptoms.
And what they found is that the key is the liver, the body's second largest organ.
The liver is this huge metabolic factory, so it can metabolize, it can turn the sugar into all kinds of other metabolites and get rid of it in the blood, which is actually what we want to achieve in diabetic patients, because diabetic patients have high levels of sugar in their blood. And we found that if you interfere with this mechanism, something remarkable happens. Liver cells start taking up 3 to 4 times more sugar than they usually do. Apparently, it's not just the cells that deliver information from one another, also molecules within the cell. They kind of touch each other in order to send signals to one another. And by doing that, they coordinate which and how much of specific metabolites would be transferred into them.
With different cells and molecules communicating with one another, these bright minds are figuring out how to discover future solutions to minimizing symptoms of Crohn's disease and perhaps even addressing cancer.
Actually now developing specific molecules that would enter into all cells. And by doing that, we will specifically impair the function, even kill cancer cells, while other cells will be able to deal with these molecules and they will stay unharmed.
Although it's still early days before potential clinical trials and implementation, these Israeli scientists are setting the stage to help the entire world.
Science is our mission. It's a life mission for us. But we also understand the importance of science, not just to our nation, but to humanity.
Emily Francis there. Now, it's the world's biggest showcase for new technologies. The Consumer Electronics Show, or CES, held this week in Las Vegas. Nearly 4,000 exhibitors unveiled everything from robots to innovative gadgets, some powered by artificial intelligence, others not. But what are the standout trends from CES 2026? Let's take a look.
AI. These two letters are everywhere at this global tech event. AI. Artificial intelligence is set to infiltrate our daily lives, especially through robots. And there's something for everyone, from small robots that help with sports to larger ones capable of doing your shopping.
And the scenario that we are showcasing here is the retail scenario. So they're, operating fully autonomously in retail stores, in convenience stores, and they're, basically customers place order on an iPad, they receive the order, and they'll go retrieve the product that they received. And also they're working in warehouses, in factories, in pharmacies as well.
But AI isn't just in robots. It's appearing everywhere at home, even in the bathroom. Showers that adjust water composition to your skin type. Hair clippers that deliver a perfect cut in under 15 minutes. All controlled through a mobile app. At first glance, this gadget might look like an ordinary lollipop. Just plug it in to hear music. And now, choosing a nail polish color is a thing of the past. You can change it whenever you want. No more polish bottles, no more remover, no waiting for nails to dry.
At night, you go out on a date, you have a red dress up, you change your color of your nails to red. You can do that thousands of times, over and over, on demand, whenever you want. All you need is our nails and an iPhone app.
While some of these innovations may seem frivolous, others could literally save lives. Take this giant scanner, for example.
The goal of Body Scan 2, which is very ambitious, is to detect the early signs of chronic disease before they are too late, so that you can act on it and it's still reversible. So to do so, we collect more than 60 biomarkers and we make a total assessment of your cardiovascular health and your metabolic health.
The Consumer Electronics Show is the global stage for tomorrow's technologies, bringing together the innovations that will shape our future. Every year, it's the perfect place to take the pulse of the tech world and see where it's heading in the year ahead, 2026.
Getting rid of nail polish sounds like a dream. Moving on from lifestyle tech now. Last week, our Joe Brown reported on memes fueling crypto fraud. In his explainer, he used the example of the Lin coin, a made-up crypto coin with my face on it that could theoretically fool people into investing. And lo and behold, somebody actually made the Lin coin. But before we dive in, let's refresh your memory.
Creating a cryptocurrency can take only 5 minutes using an existing blockchain, which is a system that records transactions. You just need a snazzy name like Lincoin, a picture, supply limit, and bingo, you have created a new crypto token. Because it's so easy, tens of thousands of people have created their own. But how can you make yours stand out from the crowd? The answer? Make it go viral.
So Joe, the Lin coin, we have been breaking our heads over this phenomenon all week. Do we know who made it?
Yes, we do. First of all, I'd just like to say it is an absolute pleasure to be sat opposite the face of Lin coin.
Well,
you're a
very
true
welcome.
icon in the crypto coin game, in the meme coin game.
Autographs later.
By all means, yes. So I woke up a couple of days after the segment was aired to a barrage of messages saying that this had actually been willed into existence. It's almost as if people had seen what I was warning about and thought, okay, let's try and almost prove him right. And to an extent, it has kind of gone like that. It's gone through a very interesting journey, has Lincoin. It started off very slow and then suddenly it hit a massive peak. It went up by 8,500% which is an absurd level within 24 hours. The record for Bitcoin within 24 hours is around about 40% increase.
No way.
So that shows
8,000.
how over 8,000%. So if you invested, say, $1,000 in it, if you withdrew it at the right time, you'd have made $85,000. It's absurd, I know. And this was kind of the point I was trying to make in my original piece about how unregulated it is, because even though it reached those highs, it hit massive lows within a couple of hours. It lost 80 to 90% of its value. And since then, it's been kind of middling at around that level. But to answer your question as to who made it, I did find out the person who made it to see why they did that and whether it would be a scam. The person who made it is somebody who goes on the pseudonym of Trax. He is a French Thai man who saw these segments, and the reason he created it was that he thought it would be a funny narrative to do. And to be fair, actually, I kind of rate that. It is kind of funny. Fair play, Trax. But he said that because this was a news channel that was talking about kind of like the negatives of meme coins, and it's such a big and to an extent can be a lucrative community, he thought that this would be a good narrative to abide by. They call it the lore, the backstory into it. So he tried to create this by doing so, ride a wave, so that he, by investing early, could be able to make some money if/when it reaches its peak. But that is the issue at hand. I don't know a great deal about this Trax person. I don't know how much money he made. I don't know if this is a scam or if this is fraudulent. From the people I've spoken to who are knowledgeable in the meme coin community, they say that a lot of them are fraudulent. A lot of them are created by bad actors who are wanting to do that. And we even saw that today with, allegedly, with Eric Adams, the former mayor of New York, who created his own meme coin and then withdrew most of the liquidity almost instantly, crashing the coin. But this is the issue. We don't know who did it. We don't know what their intentions are. And hundreds of thousands of dollars have been traded in Lincoin over the last week, probably close to $1 million right now. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that some people can make, but it's also a lot of money that some people can lose.
And we are not liable. So for the viewers at home, we are not liable for this. It's not our coin.
We are not. Listen, if you want to invest in Lincoin, by all means. But I'd say it's the equivalent of going into a casino, putting all of your money on getting a zero on the roulette wheel. Yes, you can win a lot of money by doing it, but it's a massive gamble. If you want to put money into it, only put as much as you are willing to lose. Do not put your life savings into it.
The Trax guy you spoke to, he also said that he would donate to Auschwitz.
So this was a way for him to prove to me that this would be it can be used as a force for good meme coins. There is a website called Bags FM, which essentially makes it so that any transaction fee from the meme coin that people put into can be used to give money to the creator or to the developer. He offered it to me. I said, for ethical reasons, I absolutely cannot do that. No. I told him to give it to charity. So I suggested Holocaust awareness, but because of Bags FM, it has to go through a Twitter or an X account. So it is going through the X account of the Auschwitz Museum. I have contacted them saying this is how you're able to claim the money. I'm waiting to hear back from them, but it is a possible way of fundraising. It's not the most preferred way of fundraising, if I'm being completely honest.
No, it sounds very, you have to go through a lot of steps.
Many steps, yes. Many different boundaries for legality.
Yes, and legality.
And legality, and it can cost people a lot of money if they don't play their cards right.
Yes, so am I worth investing in? We are not sure yet.
You personally, by all means. Lincoin, that's up for the viewer to decide.
Thanks, Joe Brown. Thank you so much for figuring out the idea of the Lincoin and being with us to explain it.
Thank you for being the face of Lincoin.
Yes, well, you're very welcome. Moving on, Uber is facing thousands of sexual assault lawsuits across the United States. And this week, a single trial in Arizona could determine whether the company can be held legally responsible for alleged attacks by its drivers. Natasha Kurchuk reports.
Every woman knows this moment. You're tired, maybe you've had a drink, it's late. You just want to get home safely, so you open an app, you book a taxi, you check the license plate, send it to a friend, sit in the back seat, and then you trust that this stranger who's driving you home is vetted and tracked and safe. Now, imagine that ride becoming your worst fear. Well, that is what is at the center of a major trial that's unfolding this week in Arizona, the U.S. state, and it could change the future of ride sharing as we know it. Uber is facing a sexual assault lawsuit brought by a woman named Jaylyn Dean, who says that she booked a ride through the app and was raped by her driver. Now, this is the first federal trial to test whether Uber can be held legally responsible when assaults happen on its platform, and the stakes are really enormous. Uber is facing more than 3,000 similar lawsuits across the United States, and this case is what lawyers are calling a bellwether, a test case. The verdict could help determine how thousands of other cases are resolved and how much Uber may ultimately have to pay. Now, Uber's defense is clear and controversial. Its drivers are independent contractors, not employees, and therefore Uber says it shouldn't be liable for criminal acts that are committed by those drivers. But the woman suing Uber argues that the company knew sexual assaults were happening on its platform and failed to take basic steps to protect its riders. Now, this is not Uber's first reckoning. For years, the company has faced criticism over driver vetting, over safety systems, and really just a culture that critics say prioritized growth over protection. Uber now says that safety is foundational. They are pointing to new tools that they've created, like, in-app ride verification, audio and video recording, panic buttons, and public safety reports. But this case is really bigger than Uber. Uber's competitor Lyft is also facing similar lawsuits. And ride-sharing apps, we know that they've transformed how women move through cities, especially at night alone. They're not just selling convenience, they're selling trust. But this trial is asking a hard question. When a tech platform puts people in cars together and then profits from it, how much responsibility does it carry when that trust is violated? Because like this case proves, for millions of women, this fear is not theoretical. So we're just going to really have to wait and see what comes out of this trial.
Natasha Kershik there. Last week, we reported that undressing women and children was happening on Grok, causing major outrage across the nation, not only the nation, but also internationally. And now some countries have taken measures. For all the latest viral tech news, I'm now joined by I24 News correspondent Jody Netelevitz. So Jody, what more can you tell us?
Yes, so as you said, and as we said last week, Grok has been facing a lot of criticism for producing explicit content, obscene content of women and children. And Malaysia and Indonesia have now gone and temporarily blocked Grok in their countries. And at the same time, the UK is opening an investigation and maybe pursuing legal action against the chatbot. X said it would limit image generation and editing features, but governments are basically saying that if your AI is generating such obscene material, you can't just shrug it off and say it's just a tool. So what's really at stake here is whether tech platforms are legally responsible for the images and things that their AIs create. So it could actually force AI companies worldwide to build much safer and stricter systems or face being kicked out of markets entirely.
But on the other hand, I also saw that the US and Grok are expanding their cooperation. Yes. So the US is completely on the opposite side of the spectrum here.
Yes, so they basically think this is nonsense. And the US Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, has actually taken a step further. And he is now implementing Grok into the Pentagon's systems, and it will be operating there pretty soon. He says this comes from a need to streamline and speed up technological innovations within the Pentagon and within the military, without the ideological constraints that you may face with human workers.
Wow, in the Pentagon nonetheless.
Yeah.
That's going to be a bit scary. All right, then on to religion, because AI is also infiltrating in the faith, but not in a good way.
No, I did have a bit of a laugh about this one. Pastors across the US and even as far as the Philippines are having their likeness taken and used in AI-generated videos, which are being used to scam their own congregations. One priest even had videos of himself circulating online and urging followers to pay for these sermons and prayer sessions with him using not just money, but even crypto. The deepfake videos even included ominous imagery like hourglasses to create a sense of urgency that these people need to buy these things now. And because these pastors live stream constantly, there's just this never-ending supply of their likeness out there, and which makes it really easy for scammers to scrape their videos and their faces and their voices and make fake videos. And these fake sermons are even going viral with millions of people believing that they're real.
So gotta have faith is not an option. All right, Jodie Nadelevitz, thank you so much for joining to break that down.
Thank you for having me.
So that's all we have time for today. I'm your host, Lynn Plachmeijer. Join us next week for a brand new episode of In of Nation, because we take you to Dubai, where an Israeli company is making waves. So for now, thank you for watching and have a great day wherever you are from Tel Aviv.
Some people buy property. We identify opportunities. David Jamie Group. Experience dedicated to those who choose to invest differently. Today, Dubai is booming. Exceptional growth, favorable taxation, unmatched security, and returns unlike anywhere else in the world. Surrounded by top-tier experts, we search on the ground and alongside you for the most promising opportunities in Dubai, but also in Miami, Tel Aviv, and Paris. Want to invest smart? Secure your future in the world's most iconic cities? David Jamie Group. Real estate opportunities.
"5,000 years of history, and no matter who has tried to kill us, we survive and we thrive." Every week, we'll bring you the latest Jewish news from around the world. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the magnificent. Join us every Monday for Jewish World Weekly.
Each week, dive into the very best original stories from i24 News' 4 channels.
Le point d'abord en images.
More details in this report.
خلال الأيام القريبة.
Brought together in one show. A unique perspective at the crossroads of languages and cultures. i24 News Magazine. The best of our reports handpicked for you. Tune in every Thursday on i24 News.
How do you get your news? How do you know what sources to trust? And to paint a clear picture of the entire story, you need a breakdown of the constant stream of events, top stories, expert analysts, and the best journalists bringing you real voices on the ground. We're breaking it all down on The Rundown. Get the facts, stay informed, and be a voice of reason for the Middle East.
Keeping up with current events in the Middle East can often seem challenging. That's why we're bringing you a new show to get past all the noise. Join me every Wednesday for an in-depth conversation where we break down the core issues concerning the region.
The 7th of October set in motion a chain of events. Today, Israel's enemies are severely weakened, but not defeated, and the balance of power is shifting.